Hello guys, welcome along to today's video. Out on my afternoon ride at the moment. I've already done a swim this morning as well. I'm going to be talking a bit about which Ironman I'm going to do next year in this video. So stay tuned if that interests you. I'm just out on my ride as I said. So I'll get this ride done and then we'll have a little chat about Ironman.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying out its prayer. Why are we so ashamed to be alive? Break the chains and our freedom's ours to take.
Bike ride done, an hour and 13 minutes. It's going to be about 12 miles, maybe just short of 12 miles. Very good ride. It's quite windy, especially on the first half. Very windy. What's up guys, I'm back from my ride now. So I'm going to get into the main topic of this video, which is I'm going to talk about the contenders for the Ironman that I'm going to do next year. Now the first thing I want to say is I haven't decided. Obviously, the registration hasn't opened for any of the Ironmans for next year, so I can't make my decision until the registration opens and I guarantee my spot. Obviously I could have an Ironman in mind that I wanted to go for and just wait for the registration to open, but that isn't the case right now. There are options. But people keep asking me this question, which Ironman are you going to do next year? So I just thought I would make this video on the options, basically the ones which I'm considering. But before we get into that, the first thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is something I just opened up in the post, and I'll make sure not to show my my personal details. My Triathlon England registration membership pack just arrived. So for anyone who doesn't know, basically to compete in triathlons, I think this is anywhere in the world, but definitely in England, you need a race license. And mine just arrived. I didn't have one for my race I did last year. You can buy a day license if you just plan on doing one or whatever, but it's not a lot of money. I think it's like 20 or 30 pound, and it just guarantees your entry and guarantees your safety for the races. It works in the same way, I suppose, as a driving license. You need some form of license to compete in a triathlon, just to say that you've signed all the boxes and you know what you're getting into, and it goes a little bit into your health background and stuff as well. They ask you questions on that, but also it's just to support Triathlon England, and they use the money to invest in the races that they do. So yeah, mine arrived today, and I got this nice, you might have seen when I was out on the bike, this little, I think you call it a snood. At least that's what I hope it is. It came in a pack and it didn't say exactly what it is. It's definitely not a t-shirt because I'm not a size 6. And this wouldn't get around my thigh, let alone my waist. So I'm pretty certain that this is a snood that you wear when you're out on the bike. So I've worn it like that. If I've got a load of faces when I'm out on the bike, then I didn't notice them. But you know, that's probably why people will probably look at me like, why has that guy got a t-shirt around his neck? But no, I'm fairly certain this is what you call a snood, which goes around your neck, which is actually really good because I don't have one. And a few times I've gone out on my bike and seen people with these, and and I've noticed that it's been a bit, I was like, I should probably have one of them, because definitely, you lose a load of heat from your head and from your neck and area. So yeah, right, no more waffling. Let's get into the topic. So, which Ironmans am I considering for 2021? Obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, the plan has always been to do a half Ironman in 2020, which I am doing in 21 weeks or so, which is the Cotswold Classic. It's not an official Ironman branded event, but it is a half Ironman distance. I decided to go for an unbranded event because the branded events are really expensive. This one cost me, I think the race entry was £90. If I was to go for an official Ironman one, it would have been well over £200. And plus this one is literally on my doorstep. It's about a 25-minute drive to the race start, and I regularly go and train over there. Anyone who's watched my videos in the Cotswold Water Park, that is where this half Ironman will be. So that's why I went for that one. But for the full Ironman, it has to be an Ironman branded event. Well, it doesn't have to, that's completely up to you. You could do Outlaw, you could do, there are other ones as well, sort of smaller base ones which are Iron distance. But for me, it has to be Ironman branded for the full distance. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do next year. Now, Now I've spent a load of time thinking about which one do I want to do, what are the options, and so I sort of have some certain tick boxes that it has to be. I don't really want to be flying into one, because then I have to buy a bike box, unpack my bike, pack it up again. It's just another thing to think about. For the first one, I would, there's no need for me to go to blooming like Austria, or well, actually, to be fair, you could drive to Austria. I don't know, Taiwan or China, or over in America or Canada or wherever. Those are all probably lovely events and stuff, but there's no need for me to do that and just to fly across the world to be to do that and have all that extra stress, as well as obviously the money that would cost. So the three the three ones in the UK or Great Britain are Wales in Tenby, Bolton, England, and Cork, which is in Republic of Ireland, in the south of Ireland. And so those were all options, but the issue with all three of them is they're tough. They're really, really tough. Bolton is now one of the hardest bike courses in the world. They have just announced that I think last week, changed the course a little bit from last year, but the DNF rate from last year from first timers is incredibly high, and so I kind of want to stay away from that unless I see the race this year and think, wow, okay, they've changed that course so much that could now be an option. That it is an option still, but it depends what they do on the bike course this year and then what they do after this year's the 2020 event. But that would have been the perfect event, because obviously it's England, you could just go and get a hotel, there's no real costs to it, but it's just too tough a course, especially considering that I've got so much weight to lose. I don't want to be under pressure losing weight to get up these hills. Obviously weight is such a big thing on the hills that the lighter you are, the faster you can get these hills, basically. Not strictly speaking, but that's a good rule of thumb. The heavier you are, the more weight you got to pull up these hills. I don't want to be under pressure to lose weight. The weight will come off as it wants. So Bolton is an option, but we need to see what they do with the course. And the second one is Wales. Wales for me would be my dream one. That's the one I really want to do. It looks an amazing event, but it's also so tough. The bike and the run are tough, whereas the run in Bolton doesn't appear to be too hard compared to other ones. Obviously they're all going to be hard, but I'm talking in terms of comparing them to the other ones, comparing the amount of elevation, the amount of climbing you have to do on them. And Wales has got a hard run and a hard bike. Bike maybe not quite as hard as Bolton, but still very hard, and it's also a sea swim, which I've not done before. I would need to go and practice that, so I would love to do Wales, but we need to see where we are later in the year in terms of weight, and just see where I am with my fitness really, and make a decision whether or not I fancy the sea swim, or whether or not I'm thinking, right, let's be sensible and go and pick a flatter one. And then Cork, it's simply in this list because it's fairly not one that I've thought about a lot, because it's still fairly hefty travel. It's still ideal to fly over there, so you can go on the ferry, but it's not ideal. So it isn't one that I've thought about a lot, and I know that it's tough. It's still tough. I think it's a sea swim and then a fairly tough bike. Maybe not as hard as Wales or Bolton, but still fairly tough. I'm not sure about the run, but the thing that has maybe made me put this in there is the fact that I've seen that Mike Riley is announcing Cork again this year. I think he did it last year as well. For anyone who doesn't know, Mike Riley's the guy who's the most popular voice of Ironman. He's the race announcer who calls people across the line, and it is a dream to hear him call my name across the line. So that has maybe made me hit that race in this list. But I just, I think it may still be a bit tough. So it is an option, but it's not one that is right at the top of the list at the moment. So fourth option, and right now is the one which is the most likely, is Hamburg. It's one of the closer ones in Europe. Obviously, it's fairly north in Germany, and you could drive across there with a bike on the back. Take about 14 hours, I think, which isn't too bad. You could either do that in one long day, or drive down to the channel, drive down to the Channel crossing on one day and then finish the rest of the journey the next day. so it wouldn't be that bad to travel across there. The race is flat. I think the bike is considered flat according to the Ironman website, and the run is considered undulating, which is not too bad, sort of what you expect. And the swim is in a lake, and it looks like quite a nice lake in the city centre. It looks like a really nice event, all in the city centre. Well, starts in the city centre, and obviously the bike heads out, and then the run's in the city centre, and it's a 3-lap run, I think. From if I'm not getting my races mixed up, because I was looking it up quite recently, and that I quite like. 3 laps is nice, because you start familiarizing yourself with the laps. That's sort of what make them 8.6 mile laps. I think that's right. Maybe a little bit, maybe 8.7, something like that. That's quite a nice distance to do 3 times. That mentally to me sounds quite nice, rather than 26.2 miles sort of, or doing 8 laps, and then you're like, oh my god, how many laps have I got to do with this blooming thing? So I suppose that's the same as Wales. That's a 3-lap. Is that 3 or is that 4? It's either a 3 or 4 lap run where you do laps of the town centre, and they give you wristbands, and you have to give them out or collect them each lap you do. I think the different coloured wristbands, and you collect one after you've done each lap. So first lap you get a yellow, second red, green, and it goes on, and then obviously once you've got all of them you can go to the finish line. So yeah, Hamburg is definitely an option, and it's a strong option. But then there's also flat events like Copenhagen. Copenhagen is a very popular Ironman for first timers. It's one that I've considered for a long time. It is definitely an option. Like I said, I'm not making a decision right now, but it looks a nice race, and like I said, it's a very popular option for first timers. And then there's also Barcelona. That's meant to be a fairly flat one, and also quite popular for beginners, or at least I think it is, from what I've picked up from talking to people on forums and Facebook and stuff. Seems like quite a popular one for first timers. So they're all options. Now, there's certain benefits, like obviously with Wales, I spoke about how much I wanted to do Wales, and I spoke about the cons of how hard the event is, but it's also a very late season race. And there's other ones which are around that time. I think that's sort of September, first week of September, Wales, and then also in September you've got Emilia Romagna, which is in Italy. I think that was their first Ironman they did in 2019. They did the first one there. There's another one this year. There'll probably be another one in 2021. That would definitely be an option. And my coach did that last year as well, and he said how good an option that would be for me. So that's still potential. And then there's also Cascais in Portugal. That's an option. There are about 8 it could be, and I haven't made my decision yet. It's way too early to make a decision. None of the races, I can't sign up for any of the races because they haven't even happened this year yet, let alone next year. So there is still a lot of time to think about this and really decide which one I want to do. It's such an exciting thing though, and I've had so many people talking to me about this that I really wanted to make this video and just update people on exactly where I am with my thought process and which ones I'm considering, because honestly, it is the thing that I've been asked the most. Which one am I going to do next year? So yeah, I thought I'd make this video. So I hope that I haven't teased you guys too much with saying which one I'm going to do when I don't know. But I just wanted to give you the options, and maybe you guys can let me know if there's another one you think might be good for a first timer, given I would rather something later in the season, or rather something I don't have to fly to. And yeah, maybe you guys have got a suggestion. Maybe there's one you've done, maybe there's one you're going to do, maybe there's one you're training for. So yeah, just let me know which one you think would be best for me, and I'll go and check it out. There are so many options. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one, and I shall see you on Monday.